Let's get more now on TTIP and the ongoing negotiations. We can speak to Alberto Alemanno, who's joining us from Brussels. He's a law professor at the business school HEC and also at New York University's School of Law. Thank you very much indeed, Alberto, for speaking to us, first of all. Now, you've been following the TTIP negotiations for some time now. Did you learn anything new from the Greenpeace leak?
Well, I haven't learned much new, and I think not many people have learned much out of this self-proclaimed leak TTIP. But in reality, it is pretty clear that what civil society organizations had in mind was to clearly highlight the information asymmetry existing between the two sides of the Atlantic. We know that because of civil society organizations like Greenpeace, the European Union decided in the past, already 2 years ago, to publish in advance of each negotiating round their positions, but the US resisted such an idea. So the major learning from the TTIP leaks is to finally have access to the negotiating position of the US currently hold in the negotiations, at least till March of this year.
Greenpeace, though, says that this leak essentially shows that consumer rights are at risk of being watered down in Europe. The European Commission, on its hand, says that's not the case. Who's right?
Well, they are probably both rights, meaning that the nature of this agreement is very different than the typical trade agreement. It's about public policy. It's about determining the compatibility of different standards across the Atlantic. This is a very difficult exercise, and civil society is currently right in claiming to possibly have a say in the process, or at least to be more informed about how these possible negotiations are going to achieve that objective. But at the very same time, if you spend time, as I did because I'm an academic, I have time to do so, and you go through the documents, you will realize that the overall concern which has been raised by Greenpeace and other civil organizations that the signature of those agreements might per se reduce the level of protection may actually be false. In reality, several excerpts of these documents would rather suggest that the European Union is on the fence, is really trying to defend its own position when it comes to the way in which rules and policies have to be shaped in our own jurisdiction and possibly in the future jointly within the United States.
The French president, however, says that he's not willing to sign up to the agreement as it currently stands. Why do you think that François Hollande says so? What's his thinking?
Well, the interest of France in TTIP seems to be very sudden. France hasn't really been engaged very much in the TTIP negotiations over the last 2 years. Public opinion possibly emerged a little bit as concern also in France, and now out of the blue, largely because of the TTIP leaks, there seemed to be an incredible, irresistible political opportunity, electoral opportunity, I would say, for President Hollande to possibly jump on board of the discontent and to say, well, if these TTIP leaks would reveal as true, well, we are ready to actually step back. This is something they have anticipated already last week that caught by surprise most of the other European partners, notably Angela Merkel, who is currently a supporter of the agreement.
Finally, I wanted to talk about the negotiations themselves. They've dragged on since 2013, essentially, and there's still no deal on the table. Do you think that 2016 could be the year when we actually get to an agreement between the two sides?
We know that TTIP has to go through the vote of Congress, of the European Parliament, and possibly the national parliament, so it will be a long way. But if by the end of this year, meaning by the end of 2016, the consolidated text won't be out, then there will be an impasse for at least a couple of years, largely due to the presidential elections. But this does not necessarily mean that the agreement would be dead, because it is possible that Hillary Clinton, possibly the most likely new president, will possibly mitigate a little bit the concern she expressed vis-à-vis trade, and therefore will kind of revamp those negotiations and conclude them once she will be well positioned to actually do so in a couple of years from now.
All right, we'll be waiting with bated breath. Alberto Alemanno, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us.